Hello, I'm Alexander Steyer.
And I'm Zachary Steyer.
We just affirmed our baptisms.
But before we could, Pastor Gallenberg gave us an assignment. We had to make a video about why affirmation of baptism is important.
So I decided to skip Hollywood and go right to Calumet instead.
And we asked a few adults to see what they thought.
So, why do you think affirmation is important?
Well, I think affirmation of baptism is important because when you get baptized, usually as a little baby, you haven't developed enough to fully understand for yourself what it means to be baptized, to be a child of God, to be brought into God's family. It's a gift that you've been given. And when you have your affirmation of baptism, which a lot of times you're getting confirmed, you're older and you get a chance to kind of understand what it's all about. So by understanding it, you're just saying, yeah, I was given this gift. It's a wonderful gift. I fully know what it means, and I'm even more glad to accept it now that I'm a little bit older. So that's why I think it's important, because you can say it for yourself.
Okay, and if you could go back in time to when you were affirming your baptism, what would you tell yourself about it?
Oh, I don't know. That's a hard question. What would I tell myself? I would say that this is important stuff. I think I looked at it more, as I look back at it now, it seemed like just one of those chores, one of those things you had to do that your mom and dad kind of said you gotta go do. So I just knew it was just something, it was more like schoolwork kind of a thing. As I look back at it, I would probably just try to just understand it a little bit more for myself and go, hey, this is kind of important, rather than just like a homework assignment.
Why do you think affirmation of baptism is important?
I believe that affirmation of your baptism is important because man, now I'm on the spot. Forgot what I was going to say. I believe it's important because we as Christians, most times when we have our baptisms, we are younger. I believe I was first baptized when I was 6 months old or so. So as a 6-month-old, you have no recollection of what happens, and the importance of baptism as a whole. You can't understand that as a 6-month-old, and so I think as we grow older, it's important to not only remember but try to realize why it happened in the first place, why it's so important in Christianity, and why people such as Jesus did it when he was older, when John the Baptist baptized him.
What do you think is most important about affirmation of baptism?
What do I think is most important about affirmation of baptism? I think that thinking about your baptism so that you can affirm your baptism is really important, because we baptize. Most people are baptized when they're little babies, and they don't necessarily understand what's going on at that point. So to be able to have that opportunity to think about it and say, yes, this is what I believe. It's an important part of developing your faith, knowing what it is that you are standing for and such.
All right. And if you could go back in time and change one thing about your affirmation of baptism, like tell yourself something, what would it be?
Wow. What would I tell myself? What would I tell myself? That's a good question. I think that my biggest fear leading up to that was that somehow I was going to fail, and I wasn't remembering grace. And so I think that just calming calming myself so that I knew that God's grace was more powerful than my fears. I remind myself.
And we also asked a special guest star.
Why do you think affirmation of baptism is important?
What does that mean?
Why do you think it's important?
I'm getting baptized. Maybe blessed by God.
Okay, so it's our little sister, but we wanted to get someone a little younger.
We hope this has been a useful lesson for all of you on affirmation of baptism.
We hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.
Almost forgot. The reason I think affirmation of baptism is important is because when you're a little kid, you don't really understand, and affirmation of baptism is the way for you to say, this is what I believe in, and this is what I want to do.
And I think the same thing.